Welcome back to the M365 on Azure and Entra stage. I'm Marcel Bosch, and today we are tackling a topic every IT admin and developer faces: the challenges managing PowerShell automation at scale. We are comparing manual PowerShell automation with enterprise-grade ScriptRunner integration. Thank you to our sponsor, ScriptRunner. Dimitri, a warm welcome to you. And I have two exceptional guests today. First, I want to introduce Rashmi and warm welcome to you. And I said Dimitri here, so this was a man first woman. So Dimitri from ScriptRunner, warm welcome to you too. Rashmi, let's start us. You've been deep in the Microsoft ecosystem for years. What's your background with PowerShell automation, and what made you passionate about helping organizations automate their processes?
Hello everyone. So I've been working on, so I'm currently working as Modern Workplace Consultant at Vanard, but I've started working with PowerShell ever since I started working with Microsoft products, mainly SharePoint 2013, like a decade ago, on-prem. I remember starting writing scripts, mainly to automate the provisioning process of SharePoint side, because at that time, when I started, I remember we were being tasked okay, you need to create all those artifacts, the copy types, libraries, everything manually. And it was painful, and it was prone to errors, especially if you had to repeat the process on the dev, UAT, prod. And I remember even when you try to copy a column name and you paste it, and if it's a manual process, if ever there is a trailing invisible space, and it's just messed up the whole process. So having an automated process really helps in terms of having a repeatable process with less errors. So ever since I've written loads of PowerShell scripts which I've shared onto the PNP sample scripts, which is on the GitHub repository. So in case if you have any problem, any issue, please do visit and have a look. At the same time, because right now, PNP PowerShell is my favorite PowerShell module, which I use mainly because it makes it so easy. I remember back in the days, a decade ago, I was writing a PowerShell script with CSUM, which was quite complex. But now with PNP PowerShell, it just abstracts all those complexity and to make it easy for someone to start writing and developing in it. And since last year, I'm kind of pleased to announce I'm part of the maintaining team of PNP PowerShell with the amazing maintainers who have worked on that particular piece of technology for more than a decade since SharePoint Online, and really happy to take it forward and to improve, just to keep continuing my contribution. And one thing I would say to the audience, if ever you have any issues, any ideas, any improvements, do contribute. Even if you want to open pull requests, it's all welcome. It's for the community, so please do help.
Amazing. Rashmi, everything. Rashmi, so yeah, I really like it because I think so I'm the graph guy and you love PowerShell. That's why. So I love, but PowerShell is really cool. Dimitri, tell us about your journey about PowerShell and ScriptRunner, so you can combine that.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Dimitri. I'm a senior system engineer on customer success at ScriptRunner, and I myself been in ops for years now. I help our customers to plan, deploy, and run PowerShell automation so it works safely and at scale. More and more organizations are realizing now that PowerShell isn't optional anymore. Literally, a lot of work only happens through scripts now. You don't have GUI for crucial elements. You cannot set up something like Exchange Online without knowing PowerShell, without using PowerShell. So I help teams stop doing manual steps, centralize the scripts, and set up secure delegation and change control. ScriptRunner lets teams run and share script with limited access and full audit logs, so non-experts can use automation without breaking anything or rely on a single guru in the organization.
Yeah, that's right. So when organization starts with PowerShell automation, where typically we begin with manual scripts, what does the landscape look like, and what challenges the team faces, Rashmi?
Yeah, I would say like that's particularly my history. It stays like with manual scripts all the time. Basically, my focus is mainly on the task execution, like to solve like a particular problem. And as Dimitri mentioned, like sometimes it's just like not even possible, just like from the user interface to do something, and you have like to rely on the scripts. So I have a lot of scripts that mainly because I work like it's mainly like for me, and it tends like it's just for me like to improve my own tasks. So I would have it like in my own folders, and each time I had like the same task, it become a little bit easier for me just to find the script and start and just change parameters and just run it. One of the things like I realized like working like for several organizations, so like myself being a dev, we have like other developers or other teams like the security team or the infrastructure team. Each one or each member will write like the amazing scripts because there's no like centralized process or anything like in their own folders, and everything is like a black box because no one is aware what they are doing. What the case like as long as the task is getting done, and that's it, unless like if something really goes wrong, possibly they more like to try to find out what happened, what's the cause of it. So it's a little bit um, challenging in that way. The other one I would say like even like different people or different people writing like those scripts, we have like different standards. I mean, not saying like it's wrong or right, but certain things like potentially like for example logging, which is essential. But sometimes if I'm more focused on just solving one particular problem, I'll just write the script just to do that, especially if it's just like one off and I'm not ever going to use that script again. I won't bother like writing the logging, but then if it's no like anything imposed on me, I just won't add it. And then it's just like the way people write or think. Ideally, if we have like particular functionality, ideally we want it to be a reusable module or function, so that we can easily incorporate it in a different script or call it from a different script. But again, if it's not done in the correct way, potentially it can't be like reusable. Yeah, so it has quite a lot of challenges. The other one potentially is related to overprivileged access to run like those scripts, which can again, depending on what the script is doing, but if it's not visible to the entire organization, it can cause a lot of harm, especially if it is something it's not supposed to do.
So we are talking about scripts scattered across different locations, version controls issues, and the classic "it works on my machine" problem. Dimitri, from your perspective, what are the pain points you hear often from organizations trying to manage PowerShell manually?
Yeah, many things are reflecting the things Rashmi mentioned before. One of the first thing I hear from customers is there is no standard approach to writing, storing, or using script. You know, we are administrators, we are not developers. Without a clear coding style, many start literally like a small one-liners, and then these one-liners are growing just into massive unstructured pieces of code over time. And talking about delegation, it's just often handing over a file from one team to another. And scripts are typically stored somewhere in the file system with NTFS permissions. There's only security layer at all. There's usually no proper version control on the script, which makes tracking changes and rolling back very difficult. And in large enterprises, you can multiply these problems across multiple IT teams, and the complexity grows so fast that the benefits of automation can be almost lost compared to the effort needed to manage it all. And of course, there is human factor. Typos have probably ruined more IT than malware did. On top of that, manual script management sets a very, very high entry threshold, because anyone running a script needs to needs a deep understanding of exactly what it will do to the systems. Another pain points is, for example, unreliable scheduling without proper reporting and audit, credential management or privilege management, lack of monitoring, as I said, lack of monitoring and audit, and poor reporting in general.
Cool. So thank you. So, but one thing I hear a lot about delegation. IT teams want to empower their help desk or business users to run certain tasks, but they can just hand over a PowerShell console access. Rashmi, how do organizations typically try to solve with manually approaches?
Yeah, so yeah, for the help IT help desk, yeah, it depends on organization. They may or may not grant like the PowerShell console access. Even like for a normal business user, possibly it's kind of restricted, so they don't have the power like to use or run any script from the machine, which is like from a safety mechanism. They just wants like to restrict it to a particular like IT admin department, like to be able like to do all those. But in case like for the IT help desk, they need to kind of handle loads of user queries, and potentially they might require like access like to PowerShell script, like to be able to help solve those problems. So in most cases, if it will get escalated to an IT admin team, and potentially we might have like the person from the IT help desk kind of shadowing like the administrator, like to see what is being done, just to have like an extra pair of eyes to understand and to ensure like the particular issue they're trying to working on is kind of fixed. But in other scenarios, potentially, if we do allow the IT help desks to run those scripts, because we might have like minimum skills and knowledge about the particular product, as an IT admin, what we could do potentially is write instructions, similar way that when I do submit sample script to the PMP PowerShell sample repository, we have like a lot of instructions about the different parameters, the different permissions, what we need to change, and basic high-level details what the script is doing. And depending on the risk level on the script, potentially we might let the IT help desk run it. The other one is depending, like if we don't have like PowerShell access, potentially we might have like a dedicated virtual machine where potentially we might have to log in using a service account and not them. I have seen like where I used to work previously, like having a service account to log in onto dedicated virtual machines, but these credentials get shared across different people, which again, it's like a security risk in case that account get compromised. Yeah, so that's like another option, like to have a dedicated virtual machines where they do all these admin tasks. Yeah, that's kind of from a high level what like delegation, like to IT help desk and some of the challenges that it might be. And sometimes some of the scripts might have like hard-coded credentials as well, which is like not good. But I've seen like instances like people who associate right where the scripts on the shared folders, and then after they left, potentially they kind of hand over all the scripts like to a person with minimum documentation, and sometimes I guess they're like, oh, credentials or service account.
Okay, I think we should move from the very theoretical part into the demo. Let's shift to the solution side. Dimitri, give us an overview. What is ScriptRunner and how does it change the game for PowerShell
thanks.
automation?
Happy to. ScriptRunner is best described as the operational layer for PowerShell in an enterprise. Instead of scripts living on people's laptops or network shares or dedicated virtual machines, ScriptRunner provides a single managed platform to publish, run, and govern that automation. Concretely, it does three things that change the game. First, security. Hard-coded passwords and scattered credentials are replaced by vaulted secrets and runners accounts. User never ever get a raw credential anymore. The platform mediates execution, log the action, and let you rotate secrets without touching every script you have. Second thing is delegation and scale. You can export the right actions to help desk, application owners, or business users through role-based access control and auto-generated graphical users interfaces. Yeah, we can do it. That means routine tasks like password resets, onboarding, or mailbox changes can be run safely by non-admins without giving them privileged access. Third is governance and compliance. It's very important in enterprise. Every run is recorded with who ran it, which runner's account executed it, what inputs were used. If it's necessary, the inputs are masked, obviously, for like password fields, and the output that satisfies auditors, reduces single person knowledge risk. If an author leaves, someone else can safely pick up the runbook and move on. There's also practical benefits. You have a searchable catalog, so teams reuse approved scripts. You have runtime control to avoid this typical works on my box problem. And you have integration points to external systems. So automation can be triggered and can report back into your existing processes. And on top of that, you have approval workflow to prevent some ad hoc changes in production for critical processes.
Really interesting overview. So if you take a look at its essential centralized platform for managing, executing, and delegating PowerShell scripts, Rashmi, from an implanter perspective, what stands out about an enterprise automation platforms like ScriptRunner?
Yeah, I can say itself like a lot of the challenges which I mentioned earlier about like the manual scripting. I'm just like going like to repeat it a bit like what Dimitri kind of said. It's about the centralized management of this of scripts, one place where you could easily find the scripts that the end user wants like to run, and the access control like minimum least respecting like the least privilege permissions to access like to all those scripts, which like especially like when you want to delegate to IT help desk. So so everything that it says, it's like, especially like the audit trail, because like one of the thing, like with manually running the scripts, like this each one is doing it on their own machine, like no one knows like who actually or when is actually there's like nothing, but having like ScriptRunner is just like solve these problems literally. And I really hope, like, have not seen ScriptRunner and how it works, but especially for myself, or if we're working like in a small team, everyone like running the scripts on their own machines, like you have like the logs scattered across different servers or machines, and it's make it hard like to isolate, to find out like when a problem happened, like how to analyze like huge logs to kind of pinpoint like the exact failure to kind of to take some action. So I'm hoping like it will offer like an easy way of searching through all like several logs, even like potentially hoping like to sending alerts like to the person who can actually take any actions, more like a more proactive approach instead of a reactive approach, because sometimes if a script runs, there's no logs, hopefully it should, but if there's no log, it's just like a nightmare.
Yeah, and Dimitri, you talk about self-service portals. I think this we should a little bit deeper on this topic. How does that work, and what does it mean for the end users? And we needn't to be an PowerShell expert anymore?
No, actually not. First thing great about self-service portal in ScriptRunner, it works natively and automatically. What I mean with that, it creates input elements based on parameter types and based on parameter section. For example, if you have a string array, it will be dropped down with multiple inputs. If you have only a string, you have like a text input. If you set a switch type, you have a checkbox. So as administrator, you don't need to be a front-end developer for that on the first place. And on the second place, it's fully native to PowerShell as well. So you're just writing good-looking code with parameters and inline help. We are using description synopsis and parameter helps to bridge between cryptical variables or parameter names that often not every administrator understand what it does, and human readable description. We just replace these names with human readable description and use this within our scripts like normally. And from the other perspective, you can reuse these scripts outside of ScriptRunner, and so it softly forces you to write good-looking code a little bit. We are administrators. We are living in a world of one-liners and quick setups. So it just softly put you in the right direction here. You can also link an interactive query, for example, to your parameter and get the data from an external system before you are forwarding it to your main script. So you can avoid all the typos in your automation. You just select something from dropdown and use it in a script. And good thing about it, you select by human readable name, and the script is using, for example, some ID that you don't really care about. Yeah. Last but not least, it enables end users with literally zero tech background for executing PowerShell code. You can delegate them your PowerShell action, and they can, for example, reset its password itself. Yeah, so it's a huge improvement in case of in sense of productivity of power users, end users, and help desk.
Yeah, this is really interesting, I think. And what about integration? organizations aren't just running standalone scripts anymore. They need PowerShell to work with M365, Azure, Power Platform, and more. How does ScriptRunner handle these complex integration scenarios?
Yeah, we have outbound for outbound integration. We have targets, different target types. For example, for Microsoft 365, Azure, or Enter ID. What I mean by that, it's like connection code and disconnection code integrated in ScriptRunner. So you don't need to take any action to connect to your Microsoft 365 tenant. You just register an application and use service principal like normally with a certificate or a client secret to connect to the service. And as I said, we have many of them, and Microsoft landscape is totally covered with our target types. For inbound integration, ScriptRunner presents API. It's API version 3 now. It's Open API compatible, so it's easy to use and self-documented. And on top of that, we have Swagger UI in ScriptRunner, so you can test your API automation directly in ScriptRunner without need to install something like Postman and so on.
Oh, that sounds great. So, but let us get practical with some more real scenarios. Rashmi, imagine an organization needs automate user onboarding across M365, Enter ID, and Exchange. Walk us through what that looks like: manual PowerShell versus Power platform approach.
Yes. Yeah. So with a manual approach, like an IT admin, probably, I mean, the request might have come through the help desk, and the help desk potentially they might have access to run the script themselves. So probably they might hand over like to an IT admin person, and that IT admin person might have like the script stored like on their file share, which we can open. Hopefully it would be like the right versions. If they don't have like me, like I have like a multiple version of the same script, like to do something with a slightly different variation. And then yeah, like Dimitri kind of mentioned, but for a manual approach, but more like to get all these parameters, like getting the username, everything, what is ever required to run the script. Need to enter them. Hopefully there won't be any typo mistakes. You just hope so. And that script will do everything like automatically in the background, like to create the account in Enter ID, to assign all the correct permissions, setting mailbox, and all the different settings. Yeah, so that's kind of the manual approach, which is a little bit more error prone, but with how Dimitri kind of described, like ScriptRunner, how it runs, especially with integration. So hopefully it might have like an integration with the service desk platform, and whenever a similar request come for user onboarding, if the IT help desk person just review all the details, ensuring like everything is right, have like the correct integration with the ScriptRunner, which can call directly a specific script in the background with all the parameters just pass on automatically. So there's a single point of failure, but at least only one person instead of duplicating of effort, because the IT help desk would already can't check all the details. The administrator would have to check the details again. But if it's all automated, that means there's like less manual effort. Everything would be kind of in a flow, kind of get triggered, script error running, and then providing the feedback from to a IT help desk when all is done. And it's just like make it a lot simpler with all like the audit trail log of any errors. Because if it's done manually, then the log stayed somewhere like on an administrator's local machine, and you don't really see the kind of all the historical trend, how often like the script is run, like how often it's failed, and all those. So having like a platform approach, I can see the benefits around it.
So now comes the most important question to you, Dimitri. What are some outstanding use cases you've seen where ScriptRunner really shines compared to manual scripting?
Maybe I'm not that original, but the most typical one use case is on and offboarding. Like everyone had it, and on the one hand, you have complexity. It's in the most cases, it involves many platforms, many systems, and on the other hand, you have repeatability. So it's something what we are doing constantly, and something that jumps just drastically as your business grows. So in this case, you can really profit from a systematic approach and platform comparing to manual scripting. Another thing is permission management. It also something we are doing every day, but with interactive elements based on queries. You have drop downs, cascaded queries that you can compare to breadcrumbs navigation, so you don't jump directly to your subfolder, but you can navigate and select your subfolder like from tree, and that really eliminates human factor and human factor related errors from permission management. Give an approval on top of that, and you cannot compare it with manual approach anymore. So another one is background tasks with reporting. We have really in ScriptRunner, we really have first-class scheduler. You can run cron-like schedules. You can report back with HTML, with email. As Rashmi mentioned, it's really possible to build in an integration with your enterprise communicating system. Yeah, and you can compare and see how your scheduled actions, how your scheduled automations was running in the past, and if something isn't work, you can compare them. And last but not least is also inbound API integration. It's something like you don't have at all by manual approach. You cannot trigger your automation normally via API from third system based on some events. And in this case, platform approach lets you to be really flexible on that, really enhance your PowerShell scripting from just being some technical stuff to really help your business processes to be a part of that, of high level processes also.
So, but what about reporting and visibility? When something goes wrong with a manual script, troubleshooting can be painful. How does an enterprise platform improve that experience?
Yeah, in the first place, we have live monitoring. Like you always see what automations are running now, and see live from the console output if something goes wrong. We also have the function to compare two reports in our reporting, so you can really pick up two reports. One is failed, one is successful, and compare what the difference in output you can notice there. You have different reporting options, as I said, HTML or email, or integrating via external libraries. And not to mention all native possibilities are still there, but ScriptRunner is a platform, is a product, so you have customer support on top of that. And we in customer support and ScriptRunner really have knowledge if something goes wrong with your PowerShell automation or integration. In many cases, it's not related to PowerShell itself, it's just something integration related problems. And we help our customers with that.
So, Rashmi, brings back me. This brings back me to you. What's your take on that from the implementation side?
Yeah, I can see like I already kind of mentioned a few about the challenges, especially around the reporting and visibility, like the manuscript where it's selecting, but having like hopefully like ScriptRunner platform approach will help like to kind of easily like I really like the option of like live monitoring where you can see all the different scripts which are currently running by the business, which is really good. And the other one, which hopefully I found it like a issue, is related like to error codes, logs. I mean, sometimes as a developer you do write it, but sometimes like the errors coming like from the API doesn't really make sense. But for end users, especially the IT help desk, to have like a more user-friendly message, what exactly the error code means, to make it a little bit easier. Because right now it's like sometimes when you do anything with Microsoft API, it's just like you get a generic error, something went wrong. So it's like to deal with it. But but again, sometimes it's not. I would say it won't be like a script runner, but sometimes maybe depending on the context. Of the what the script is trying to do, just having like a different, more sensible message rather than just something went wrong. And the other thing, like I'm really hoping related to visibility, is like a script might have like different steps, like for example a user onboarding where it's create the user account, assigning permissions, like how long like each step takes, where's a bottleneck where it can be improved, just a little bit more like proactive messages, just not to have you have like a static kind of script, but just like having like guidance how it could actually be improved to improve the performance, or just generally like just to make it a little bit more production ready or enterprise ready in terms of the way that it's being written. Yeah, that's kind of my take on having like a platform approach.
So, but if we take a look at best practices and decisions, so the decision maker are CTOs or IT heads for a topic like that. For our audience, trying to decide between sticking with manual PowerShell or adopting a platform like ScriptRunner, what factors should they consider, Rashmi? What is your decision framework?
For me, like if ever like the script it's just like going like to be used only once, very unlikely like we'll need like to use it again. For example, like when you first set up the tenant, for example, you have like a particular script, especially when the organization just especially when this kind of the first steps when they go onto the cloud, they would run maybe a set of scripts just to set all these settings, and probably it won't ever be used ever again, because that's like a one-off exercise until possibly if it get bought or merge or something else. Yeah, so it depends like how many times a script is being used, and it depends whether you need to delegate the script to someone else or whether it's still like a one-person job, like still like running those scripts. And the other one is whether the script is like business critical, yes or no. For example, like the user onboarding a scenario that we covered earlier, or even you might have like, for example, site provisioning, which is repeatable. You have like to do it over again. It's a business critical script, so possibly you will looking into the using a platform approach. The other one, it depends on the risk appetite of the business, because if something goes really not wrong with the PowerShell script, it's more like a reactive approach, like how we're going to fix it, and the costs to the business can be quite huge. Like for example, having like overprivileged access to a script, like and then share it to someone, and that person running the script not knowing exactly what the whole details what the script is doing, it can cause a lot of harm. So yes, it's a lot of factors to consider, but again, it's just something like to for everyone just to see all like the pros and cons and see which one might be the best scenario for you.
Yeah, that sounds really legit. So, Dimitri, are there scenarios where you actually recommend staying with manual PowerShell rather than adopting with ScriptRunner?
I wouldn't say so. Really, native PowerShell is still there. It's not that ScriptRunner replaces PowerShell. It enhances PowerShell to the next level. So native PowerShell is still there, for example, for development or quick troubleshooting. It's more flexible and fast. But as soon as you have minimal viable script, just onboard it to ScriptRunner and use it there. Still, we all have one-liners, and it's great to have if you are using this once. But if it tends to be used more than once, then immediately convert it to a viable script, add parameter section, and onboard this to ScriptRunner server. I've seen this many times where this one-liners was not mentioned for using in production, were in fact in production, and it has almost ruined some enterprises. Really, it's really it can be dangerous, I would say, if you have something with privileged access without proper management on that, without proper understanding what does script can potentially do.
So, if we're looking at the skills side, how does the choice between manual and and platform automation affect team training and development? So, Rashmi, so what you're thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, like Dimitri kind of mentioned, like if you use like a platform approach where you have like all those complexities around the script kind of abstracted, so it kind of make it easier. Like for help desk, like for example, they want like to find like a script just to fix like a Teams issue where they need like to run it to clear local cache. We can just go and just run it and they'll be fine for it. It's not really need to understand like each line by line what it's doing. So it's really kind of reduce the barrier of entry, like for like the business users, democratizing the use of scripts in a way because they don't really need to understand what it's actually doing, especially if it's like a script which has been like well tested, approved, to make it available to the business users like to use. Obviously, like with a role-based access, control the access, but yeah, it reduces the barrier. The downside, I would say, like probably they are not like spending much muscle power to understand writing scripts. It's just like one of those things.
I could only say this was been a fantastic deep dive. Rashmi, where do you see PowerShell automatic heading in the next few years, especially with AI and low-code tools emerging?
Yeah, with AI like being infused in all the Microsoft products, it can lead to a decrease in runs of PowerShell script. But so far, from my use of AI, like on it's nowhere near like in terms of accuracy. Even though, like when I try like to use AI like to write to help me write PowerShell scripts, it's good at providing like the boilerplate, like anything which has already been solved before. But if you're kind of stuck like on a niche problem, possibly, or because the technology evolved, or no one has kind of written anything on it, AI tries the best like to please you, will come up and isolate on a particular PowerShell commandlet, which just doesn't exist, but it sounds like nice if it was there. So again, it's kind of improving, and I would say like with AI and low code tools emerging, it's really similar way like using a platform tool, it lowers the barrier of entry where more people would be able like to write their own PowerShell scripts. But from my experience seeing like people doing that, they can see, oh, that seems that's possible, and then they come back to me. I'll ask ChatGPT to write me this, and you come back to me. So that should be alright. So like, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't even exist. So anyway, it just gets, so it has like with the first side and the downside is just like increase the amount of work sometimes, because instead of trying to debug like something generated by AI, that's best use my time just to write it. Sometimes if it's just like one line of code versus like if AI generated like 100 lines of code to do something, or like, oh, there's better way. So sometimes AI, they can't really replace experience and just like the problem solving skill, creativity skill of a person. Yeah, but definitely it will have just to get started, especially finding scripts like other people have already written like on a particular topic. Yeah, it does help.
And Dimitri, what's on the roadmap for ScriptRunner, and how are enterprises automation platforms evolving?
Yeah, on our roadmap, in the upcoming version 8 of ScriptRunner, we are introducing workflow engine with no-code editor. So you can just visually chain your ScriptRunner action, basically your PowerShell automation, with each other, and build workflows, share workflows, and have the same approach you have with scripting automation and ScriptRunner, with reporting and credential management within this workflow engine. We also built in our MCP server. We're converting ScriptRunner to the MCP server, so you can basically use your script as an AI agent directly without need to do something. If you already have description, like semantical description on your scripts in your inline help, it just uses these actions, the scripts directly as AI agents. And also you can use AI nodes for things like reporting analysis. Another step, it's improving open telemetry and integration with CM systems. It's also a business demand, and it grows as demand to security, secure execution. Execution is growing as well.
A lot of topics, a lot of features. Yeah, amazing. Final thoughts. If there are one key takeaway from today's discussion, what should it be? Rashmi, let's start with you.
Here we had a lot of different discussions between manual scripting versus Power Platform approach, like all the intricacies. And I would just like repeat what Dimitri kind of mentioned is like PowerShell script. It's here, it has its place, and the ScriptRunner is going there to enhance it, take it like to a different level, like to make it like the enterprise readiness. And to be honest, like before like this call, I didn't know much about ScriptRunner, but I can see how it really fill up the gaps in at the enterprise level in terms of helping like to ensure like we don't have like any security gaps, ensuring we have like proper audit trail, visibility, reporting, and other amazing things which ScriptRunner does.
And for you, Dimitri?
For me, it would be more like for directly to the admin auditory, that ScriptRunner powers automation at scale, and it handles routine jobs, governance, orchestration. So you can focus on the things that matters, on architecture and your code, because at the end it is that make this really interesting to work with PowerShell and automation and ScriptRunner.
So
Your final thought: your your automation journey doesn't need to be painful. That's it.
This is, I think, a perfect end sentence. So I could only thank you.
Yeah.
Important to know. So what we will cut the session because we are here in a 4-hour slot, and we will put it on an extra section on our M365 show YouTube side. And so Dimitri, this is what we can talk later. If it's possible, we could add an I would say an ScriptRunner deep dive session for 45 minutes at the end, because I think it makes totally sense to take a look on it's how it works. All the other stuff we put this in the notes of the M365 Con and later in the notes on the M365 show notes too. You will find there everything regarding to Rashmi. So if you want to talk with Rashmi, you can find her on LinkedIn. She works on amazing topics too. I know what they said about PnP scripting and so on. Yeah, and from my side, I can only say thank you. It was an amazing session. It was really fun for me, and good deep dive and an overview. I won't summarize at the end. So if you need fast and script and a solution, PowerShell manual scripting is a good way. So if you need an overall organization in your company and you are I would say full of manual scripting for your single important main processes, you should take a look at ScriptRunner. This would be the best way. So for us, I would say, or for today, I would say, we have the next session here at the M365 Con in 8 minutes with Moritz Gülke. And for you, I wish you a nice day and see you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
In IT, even the fastest teams stumble when control is missing. No central automation, no monitoring, no reporting. Governance gaps, manual work, and lost knowledge slow you down. Errors multiply. Compliance risks grow. Productivity drops. And when your solution breaks, there's no one to call. Enter ScriptRunner, your centralized PowerShell automation platform that enforces policies and delivers secure, scalable IT operations. With included support, compliance can only be achieved. Run smarter, run secure. With ScriptRunner, the #1 agentic automation and orchestration platform for Microsoft ecosystems.